Everywhere you look, we have happiness screaming at us from the bookshelves in Barnes & Noble with smiling people with beautiful smiles and tans, both telling us that happiness is important and also telling us how to get it. And I don't think that either of those two things are necessarily true. There are lots of ways to define the value of a life. One of the things I do say in the book I think is quite entertaining. There's no more guarantee of unhappiness is comparing yourself to someone and thinking that you ought to be happier, that they're happier than you, or you ought to be as happy as them. So I think it's an error. And we have good news, though. The psychologists in the last 15 years of the 21st century, if you want, have come up with a notion that's really close to what the Greeks did 2,500 years ago, and it's called human flourishing. Human flourishing is the notion that, yes, happiness is important, but you don't get happy by focusing on happiness. So there are 4 other dimensions to human flourishing as contemporary psychologists think of it. One of them is spiritual fulfillment, but that effectively means doing meaningful work, work that matters, work that makes a difference. The second thing is doing work that engages you fully, that uses the maximum of your human capabilities. The third thing is having nurturing and productive relationships. Nothing predicts well-being and wellness more than having great relationships. The Harvard Health Study, one of the largest cohorts ever studied, that was the predictor of longevity and wellness rather than other outcomes. And so, and then finally, achievement. We're human beings. We are drawn to achieve, to climb the Everest, to go to the moon, to build corporations and cathedrals. And I think if we're going to create the kind of corporations, the kind of businesses that I'd like to see, I think the kind of businesses that Microsoft would like to become, communities where people come together to do magical things that they couldn't do by themselves, places where we can scale science and technology for the benefit of humankind, 7.4 billion people on the planet, places where we nurture relationships and where nature grow and where structures that don't have people fighting for resources politically with one another. If we can structure organizations and decisions in organization around evidence, it would be a wonderful thing. And if we started to work on more things that valued, you know, human beings and organizations, you want people to engage with their work and to find meaning in their work. Why don't you do stuff that values? I submit, you know, this is perhaps too judgmental a thing to say, but, you know, spending thousands of people trying to launch the 200th kind of toothpaste in the world is frittering away of the amazing capability that human beings have in the world, their imagination, their intellect, their creativity, their ability to work together to create. We've done amazing things, you know. The pyramids were built, how long ago were they built? 3,000 years ago or something like that. That's a long time. What are we doing today that looks like a pyramid? What are we doing today that looks like Notre Dame Cathedral? Because those were monuments to the maximum of what we could achieve with art and science and architecture in the time. What are the cathedrals that we're building today, you know? What are the important projects that are going to dignify us in 200, 300, and 500 years? People are going to look back and say, look what those guys did. It's an extraordinary thing. And so I'd like business to spend more time thinking about that and a lot less time thinking about the thousands of different kinds of toothpaste, which I'm not sure we need. So anyway, thank you. Thank you for your patience with us.